This is a tutorial on how to print positives that are bitmaps. Up until this point, we've only covered how to do vector images, but now we're going to talk about how to do bitmap images. First, I'm going to go to my Open tab and select a new piece of art. USB drive E, search, and I'm going to type in Discovery Camp. Now in Discovery Camp, they sent me a high-resolution bitmap of their design. If I scroll in on it, I can see that the more I scroll in, the more blurry the design becomes, even though it is very sharp. If it's sharp enough that I can imagine it being full size in the back of a shirt and the lines still look good, then I don't have to change this into a vector art design. Instead, I can keep it just like it is, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, this customer has asked for us to print the design 10.5 inches wide on the back of the shirt. Now, I would normally, if I have a vector image, simply go up and type in 10.5, enter, and now the design is 10.5 inches. But I have an issue, and this is my issue, that this design does not end with the design itself. Because it's a bitmap, you could imagine that this bitmap is attached to basically a piece of paper that goes behind it, and it extends beyond the edges. So if that piece of paper, as it were, is 10.5 inches, that means that my design is actually smaller. I told my customer the design is going to be 10.5 inches, not just the bitmap that the design came from. And I can see that clearly represented. If I left click a different color to create a fill, I can see that that bitmap extends beyond the edges of my design. I'll left click to remove, or the slash to remove that. So how am I going to get this correct size? The easiest way I've found to do it is I'll click on my box tool and I'll create a box that is exactly the same width as my design. I can zoom in and get more precise if I wish. But I create it the same size as my actual design. Now if I look at that box, it tells me that it's 10.1 inches wide. I'll go back to my pick tool and I will lasso both the box and the design together. And I will size it up a little bit. I'll click away and click my box and see if I'm close to 10.5. I'm 10.438. I'll lasso it again and stretch it just a tiny bit more up. Now I'll click it one more time. Up, I'm at 10.6. And so I can adjust it manually until 10.486. That's extremely close. I can adjust it manually until it's exactly the size that I want it. Now I drag my box out of the way and I can now proceed to print. Print. I go to my gear icon, positive prints, OK, apply, go to my color tab. Since this is black with no background, I'm going to print it composite, which means it'll print just as it appears. I'll go to my composite tab and you'll see that it's a mix of all the colors, which will create a very nice rich black for us. And so this composite will print. That's all.